Welcome to Hospitality. My name is Stefan Zarnecki of Black Tie Tours. With me, as always, Wesley Jones of Tour Cascadia and local artist Cole Rogers. And we are joined today by somebody who needs very little introduction. We have with us the wine grower and founder of Willamette Valley Vineyards, Jim Bernau. Thank you for joining us today,
thanks
Jim.
for being here.
It's great to be here with you,
And
Stefan.
bringing wine, of course. Looking forward to slugging that down. All right, so Jim doesn't have a whole lot of time, so we're going to get right into why I asked Jim to come on today, and that is to talk about the Smoke event in September and the Oregon Solidarity Project. So this isn't our first time that we've had smoke in the area, in Oregon, and that's why it was 2018 where we had the smoke influence, mostly in Southern Oregon, right?
Yes.
So tell me, what did the Oregon Solidarity Project do then, and what was kind of the goal?
Well, the issue developed in 2018 because the growers in the Rogue Valley for a California winery received a wholesale cancellation of their pick only a few days before the pick. And we as winemakers in the Willamette Valley knew that that fruit was fine because we've been receiving it. And we do get small amounts of fruit from the Rogue Valley to make small amounts for like wine clubs. Mm-hmm. And so we knew something was wrong. In fact, this wholesale cancellation occurred before even the test results, the independent lab test results were known.
Wow.
And so we felt that the growers who didn't have insurance, these small growers depended upon the sale of that fruit just to pay their mortgages. Yeah. We knew they were in a serious situation. So when I was discussing this with Ed King, because we both buy fruit from Southern Oregon, and because the growers called us and said, "Can you do anything to help?" And Ed King says, "Well, here's the challenge we have. We don't have basically wine programs big enough to take that much fruit." He says, "Jim, we're going to have to make a product, basically a branded product, to have to get this into distribution to see if we can save these growers." So we paid the growers about $323,000. We paid them fair market price for what we could bring in within a few days. We actually went down and helped them pick the crop.
Goodness,
wow! And then we dedicated the net proceeds to the Rogue Valley Vintners. Huh. And so it's essentially a charity effort to help the Rogue Valley, because really a lot of that fruit was perfectly fine. Yeah. Now, some of it was affected by smoke. Mm-hmm. And so we, as winemakers, Brent Stone from King Estate, J.P. Valet from Selbin Ridge, and then Jason Lett from Irie, and then our winemaking team got together and developed a set of protocols on how to handle, smoke-affected fruit. Mm-hmm. And here's what happens when smoke carries a number of organic compounds in it, which you're familiar with. If you have roasted coffee, whiskey, right? Mm-hmm. Or even a barrel-aged Pinot Noir, you're going to taste glycol, for example, an organic compound in the wine or in your whiskey or roasted coffee. And your other things like methylglycol, for example. And that will give you that that smoky, effect in the wine, which a lot of us enjoy from a barrel-aged wine, a red wine. But in smoke, it can be more astringent. So what we had to do is we had to learn how to deal with it as winemakers. Mm-hmm. But by and large, it was really, it was really, frankly, unlawful and certainly unethical for the California winery to treat those growers that way. And so that's what the Oregon Solidarity Project was. And there's a whole lot of people, including the governor, for example, who got involved in helping us figure out how to sell 7,500 cases of wine that we had no distribution for. Wow, and so people like Safeway, for example, Roth's, Fresh Markets, Fred Meyer, and other retailers, Whole Foods, got in the act to help us figure out how to place this wine. And I brought this wine so you could taste it.
It's delicious.
Very good. And it is delicious. Yeah. It's absolutely delicious wine. Now that's how we learned about how to deal with smoke impacted fruit, and the way and how smoke impacts fruit is what happens is that smoke, the elements, that organic compound, will penetrate the waxy surface of the berry, skin of the berry, and it will bind up in the formation of sugar molecules, and get bound up. And so when you taste that fruit, you're not going to taste it. It'll get released from being bound up when you convert that sugar to alcohol and CO2, and it will release the glycol back right to you.
That's why people do the micro ferments.
Exactly. Now this year, we had a different situation. This year here in the Willamette Valley, we were affected by the Beachy Fire, Lion's Head, and the others, and that smoke got carried into from the east to the west, and basically then turned south. So the northern part of the Willamette Valley had smoke for actually a very short period of time. From Silverton south, the smoke affected the vineyards for about 11 days.
Okay.
But remember how I told you how guaiacol will bind up with sugar molecules? The smoke blocked out the sun. If you remember what happened.
Oh, yeah.
We had temperatures drop by 15 degrees during the day.
Yeah, it was chilly.
Yes, and so what happened was, believe it or not, we took Brix readings every day of those 11 days. Didn't budge.
Yeah.
Which means the grapes basically stalled. And what happened, yes, so you think about this. So I want you to think as growers and winemakers about the situation of our vintage in 2020. Mother Nature reigned during bloom, took our yields down by 38 to 42%. Now you know that bankers and accountants don't like that, but your customers are going to love it. Because that means you've got lower yields right on each vine. You're going to get incredible. So this could be a remarkable year. And so then along comes the fire, and frankly, a lot of people panicked because we couldn't get the test results out of the labs because they were all consumed with all the testing they had to do in California. So we had to do microferments. We did 42 microferments, and in those 42, we found 3 smoke affected, and they were right in the path. They were near Silverton, and so there's such a thing as fresh smoke or new smoke and older smoke, and they were right in the path of that new fresh smoke that was blowing from the east to the west. They were seriously affected. So here's what you do as a winemaker. You can hand pick instead of machine harvest. You can then put those clusters, bunches, in the press hole and pop the skins using that press very gently. So you drop your juice yields considerably. You don't allow any skin contact, and that's how you deal you take that Pinot Noir, for example, you got free run, and you can actually save that juice. If there's really any problem remaining, you can use a couple things as a winemaker. You can use yeast holes, and yeast holes are like sponges, right? They'll soak up those aroma compounds. Or you can use carbon.
Yep, a little charcoal.
Yeah, and what, believe it or not, it has a polar attraction. It has a magnetic attraction to the aroma compounds.
Yeah.
And it will also, but there's another thing you can do if you've got a serious problem with Pinot Noir. And you can, for example, very gently press those clusters in the press, take the free run juice, and you can put it on fresh skins. So let's say if you're making an Oregon appellated wine, you've got really fresh, clean skins, you can take that juice from a really damaged fruit, frankly, put it on those skins, and you can save a grower. Now, we didn't have to do that in our case because really what happened was people panicked. And some of these vineyards didn't have smoke exposure for more than 4 or 5 days.
Yeah.
So we took in we put out the call that we were willing to help them, and we took our winery to the maximum. Now remember, we're a big estate grower.
Sure.
So our yields are down 38 to 42%. We grow 500 acres of vines here in the hills of the Willamette Valley. And so we had capacity. So we put out the call. We took in 20 growers' fruit that had their contracts canceled, principally from California winemakers who didn't have any tests. There was no testing done.
They panicked too.
Yes. And a lot of these growers, we favored growers who did not have any alternative, any insurance. And by the way, insurance is not like a silver bullet. Insurance gives you only a small percentage or up to, and it's expensive. So that's not necessarily a...
I'd imagine most small growers aren't going to have the best insurance they can get.
Exactly,
Yeah.
and many of them don't.
Sure.
But I can tell you, we took in fruit. I'll give you one example. He's allowed me to talk about it. Tim Ramey owns Zenith Vineyard.
Sure.
And I used to manage that vineyard like 25 years ago, so I know that vineyard. I know that fruit. He grows some of the best Pinot Noir in Oregon,
Yep.
up in the Eola Hills.
Sure.
And it used to be O'Connor Vineyard, and then when O'Connor sold it to Tim, they changed it to Zenith. Well, for the first time in many, many years, I was able to get some fruit from Tim Ramey because he had his contracts canceled.
Wow.
I took in 20 tons of Pinot Noir, and you know what? We paid him a fair price, so we weren't holding anybody up.
Yeah, I'll take it, but I'll give you
Yeah.
$5 a ton.
Yeah, and there was some of that out there, but by and large, Oregon wineries and winemakers and grape growers, they treat each other fairly, and you'll find a few situations that were maybe not quite right, but by and large, the industry really did come to each other's aid. And frankly, wineries have more alternatives than growers. We can solve problems more easily than a grower can because we
Last
have other
minute,
forms
yeah.
of, other sources of fruit. So the growers are very vulnerable in situations like this. And so I think we're duty bound as Oregon winemakers to help them, to protect them when we have situations like this.
Yeah.
Now, here's what's funny about Tim Ramey's situation. He finally got his test results back, right? Clean as a whistle. Right? And you come down and stick your head in our fermenters, and yeah, they're beautiful. So, in a way, we're lucky. We're really lucky because we've got a lot of wonderful wine in our cellar.
Right.
Now, here I am. I've moved pretty fast through this, and
Yeah. No, that's important stuff. Now, when you say you took that in, was that you at Willamette Valley Vineyards
yes,
saying, I want that
yes.
fruit?
We put out a call and said we will help up to our gills, right?
Right.
So we actually are stuffed.
Busting. Now, has the Oregon Solidarity brand been on the move with this?
This was basically a one-off.
Okay.
This was the effort to help the Rogue Valley growers. And we needed a brand because we don't make Pinot Noir from the Rogue Valley, right?
Yep.
And or Rosé or even Chardonnay from the Rogue Valley, and neither did Ed. So we had to have a brand. But in this case, we do make Pinot Noir. We do make Pinot Gris,
Sure.
right?
Yep.
And we did work with these growers. Some growers machine harvest, for example. We did tests to find out what's the best way to treat this fruit. So we took that Silverton fruit that was machine harvested. They ran tests for us with Pinot Gris and Pinot Noir. And we found machine harvesting actually produced some smoke effect in the resulting ferments.
Why? Any ideas?
I think it's the grape skins getting pulverized in the process. And of course, as you know, when we hand harvest a Pinot Gris, for example, we pop those berries in the press.
Yeah.
Whereas they're beating that, Pinot Gris berry up in the field, right?
Yeah.
And it's coming to the winery, you're basically soaking in its own skins.
It's like getting crushed while it's getting picked almost.
Yeah, that's right. And we don't crush them at all.
Okay.
So, and we take a lower yield. So you can actually produce a very nice outcome from pretty challenging situations. And I think that we have a duty as winemakers to do as much as we can to help them.
Yeah.
Right.
No doubt.
Appreciate that.
Now, so it sounds like so far you're hearing the further south, closer to the fires, that's where the more influenced fruit has been.
Yeah.
Anything? What about Chehalem? We had the fire up on Chehalem Mountain. Did any vineyards get affected up there?
Yes,
that
they
you know
did.
of?
Yes, they did. And we have some results from that. So there were pockets where the smoke would lay down in lower elevations. In these pockets, it did affect them. And so you might see a rosé coming from a Pinot Noir vineyard. But the rosé,
Sure.
they're beautiful wines.
Right.
Yeah.
And we're really, as you know, I mean, it's going to be hard for us to roll back the clock on what's happening to the carbon content in our atmosphere. We're going to have to figure this out.
Yep.
We're going to have to figure out how to deal in a world where things are getting drier.
Yeah.
Right? Our forests have been drying
Sure.
out for the last 25 years. We've known that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
We only had 28 inches of rainfall in the last water year in the Willamette Valley. 28 inches.
That's
It was
not
like
enough.
70 something. I mean, when we first moved here, I think. In the
Well,
90s.
yeah, I mean, when I started, it was a whole different, right?
Yeah.
34 years ago, you should see my records, my farming records. So things are really
different
drying
approach.
out,
Wow.
and so we're going to have to learn how to do this better.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So there are some, we've heard rumors, we haven't gone directly to any wineries, but we're hearing that some folks are letting grapes sit on the vine. They're not harvesting. They're essentially writing off either those vineyards or their Pinot Noir harvest this year. Thoughts on wineries choosing to do that?
You know, it's unfortunate that they are, because there's a lot of work in that fruit. There's a lot of great value in that fruit. Now, every vineyard is different. We found even spots in a vineyard are different. So they're the best judge of that. But what actually the
Fair.
fires have had the biggest impact on us in saving this crop is that it's sucking up the pickers, because they're fighting fires, and so we are not getting those pickers released to us from the fires until this next week. Well, you know what happened to the weather, right? So we've had to go out there and figure out how to right. So it's gotten very challenging from the perspective of organizing and affording a harvest, because the cost, of course, of picking has gone way up as well.
Well, and COVID affected that as well too.
Right.
Right.
Our international help wasn't
Yeah,
here.
that's
You know,
right.
Our harvest crews weren't what they have been.
So
in years past.
we've had the most challenging harvest picker recruitment
Yeah.
in my 34 years.
Huh.
Wow.
Haven't thought much about that. So what you're saying is the same people who would normally be picking fruit are fighting fires?
Yes,
No
yes.
shit. Huh.
And you know, and a really good pickers, a really good picker can make around $35 to $40 an hour
Sure.
in our vineyards based upon our per bucket rates. But when they're fighting those fires, they're fighting the fires around the clock.
Right.
And actually, we need them there, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not
So, but we just harvested this last week, and a good half of my crew were still wearing their fire jackets.
Wow.
So they came right out of the fires, right into the
Unreal.
vineyard.
wow.
Oh my gosh.
Huh.
That's work ethic.
Oh, they're
Yeah, exactly.
amazing.
All
They're
right.
amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Jim. I know it's great to have all that information that we can hopefully get out to our listeners. Very interesting stuff. On a more positive note, you have a project in the Dundee Hills. Tell us a little bit about Bernau Estate.
Well, we're lucky we have remarkable winemakers in Oregon, right? And Andrew Davis is one of them. Andrew Davis is making method Champenoise sparkling wine for years at Argyle. Started his own company called Radiant, and he's been teaching the rest of us, right, how to do it right. And if it hadn't been for Andrew Davis, we wouldn't be where we are with our own method Champenoise sparkling wines. And that vineyard that is located in the lower part of the Dundee Hills is perfect for growing Pinot Noir, Pinot Meunier, and Chardonnay for sparkling wine. And here's why. A lot of people don't fully understand why it is the North Willamette could be one of the best places in the world. And that's because our weather is such that our fruit develops aromas and flavors at much lower sugar levels. And that's when you're picking for sparkling. You're picking at 18 bricks, right?
Wow.
What do you attribute that to? Cooler nights or what?
It's our weather. I mean, we have remarkable weather. We do have these nights, like this whole season, right? We had cool nights, but nice warm days.
Right.
So it retains acidity in the fruit. One of the things, too, that is remarkable about Oregon in the Willamette Valley is we have these long periods where it doesn't rain during our growing season. So we go through Veraison without any rain. We're unusual. You go to Burgundy, and that's the rainiest month of the year because they're not protected by a coast range like we are.
Sure.
Right.
And so it's amazing that
Yeah.
in my lifetime, in our lifetimes, we're going to see the Willamette Valley take its place among the finest wine-growing regions of the world, including with method Champenoise sparkling wine.
Yeah. Yeah, and I've seen the renderings.
standing right there.
And I watched the video of the tour through what I guess I would call the skeleton of the facility right now.
Yeah.
I mean, it looks. I mean, how many people is that place going to be able to handle on
Well,
any
we
given day?
plan to use that as a is a place where people can travel from around the world and learn about biodynamic farming of wine grapes as well as biodynamic farming of other agricultural crops.
Sure.
And then we're going to have them do pairings and taste biodynamically grown wine with those biodynamically grown foods.
Wow.
And they're going to have an
Wonderful.
experience that they will rarely be able to receive anywhere in the world.
So you're
That's
gonna
cool.
have you're gonna have a menu like you have down. at the-
Well, we'll do it a little differently.
Okay, all right.
Because, as you know, Willamette Valley Vineyards is unique in the state because of how we provide food service to the public.
right.
But under the law, we can provide food and wine pairings, and we're allowed for a commercial kitchen.
Right.
One of the things we as winemakers learned how to do was lobby the legislature, and so we do have that.
Oh, I
we'll
can't
we'll
wait.
speak off camera.
Yeah.
I have
Yeah.
some things to learn.
Need to learn some stuff from you.
You know what? Wine comes in handy.
Yeah,
I believe
they're
it.
in the negotiation.
There you
Right.
go.
Yeah, that makes sense. All right, well, Jim, thanks again so
Yeah,
much for
thanks,
coming
Jim.
on. Thanks for hosting us here
Yeah.
at the Mcminnville Tasting Room. We're about to give our top 5 places to visit in downtown Mcminnville, and this is one of the best tasting rooms down here, hands down.
Well, I'll tell you,
well done.
I like your show is we know is a little edgy, right? And you're remarkably frank in your programs, and I think that's what it makes them fun to watch.
We
Thank
appreciate
you.
that.
Appreciate
Well, we
it.
want to keep it real, that's for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and there's a fair amount of fear when you like start something. You're like, if we're frank about this, some people might not like it.
You know
Yeah.
what? I'm an
We've
open
had-
book.
yeah, we've had
Well,
really-
you know my parents.
Yeah, yes.
They're about as frank as one gets, so, you know.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Well, we are
thanks.
doing in the cellar of that new winery, we're doing a dedication to the work that's been done, which will include your father, to truffles and what
Wow.
and because truffles is part of the Oregon story. It's part of the Willamette Valley
man.
story, and your dad is the founder of our learning, right, and understanding what the Willamette Valley can do with truffles.
Wow.
And so we are actually going to include that in our tasting in that new winery.
That is so cool.
That's amazing to hear. I can't wait to. Should I wait to tell him?
Well,
I'll let you tell 'em.
we're definitely going to make a fuss,
Okay.
and you'll see it.
All right.
Wow.
Oh, I can't wait. That's
How-
so
Oh my
exciting.
God.
that'll honor him.
And
so
we'll
much.
make sure you get the new book. I don't know if you've seen that, but it's the Truffle in the Kitchen. We'll get you copies real soon. Jim, thanks again,
Thank you,
and
Jim.
Thank you
best
so
of
much.
luck
I shake
with
your
harvest.
hands, but
I know.
You
We'll
can, man.
just wave. All right, we'll be right back. Welcome back to Hospitality. Now is the time where we discuss our top 5, and it's top 5 places to visit
Downtown McMinnville.
in downtown Mcminnville. We are here at the Willamette Valley Vineyards tasting room,
Yep.
which it's funny, I sometimes forget about this tasting room even being down here. And people say Willamette Valley Vineyards, oh, I want to taste there.
I know we always head south.
We head south, or we go, oh, that's too far. But the wines are really good.
They are.
And you can come and taste them right here. Plenty of space, and of course, walk around downtown Mcminnville and enjoy
Yeah.
all the wonderful things.
It's so cool because we have a hotel in downtown McMinnville, whereas Newburgh doesn't have that kind of hospitality space
Sure.
near other tasting rooms. So you can basically downtown McMinnville, you could just stay for a couple of nights and entertain yourself
Yeah.
Yeah.
in walking distance.
There's
Yeah.
enough places to eat and drink here that you don't really have to go anywhere
There's
else.
even, there's even actual shops.
Yeah. It's
Downtown Newburgh, we have,
it's
like,
super tourist.
A couple, like few, but,
McMinnville is
like,
by far the best wine town in the Willamette Valley,
Hospitality destination, for sure.
in my
Yeah.
opinion. More
So
restaurants, more everything.
we're gonna give kind of our favorite places to eat, drink, visit in downtown Mcminnville. Cole, you're gonna kick us off.
I am. The Bitter Monk,
Yep, we've mentioned it before, but
little brewery,
it's downtown, worth.
very delicious beers.
Right next door to us.
Yeah, it's a cozy little spot. I like it a lot. I drank there quite a bit when I was first graduating from college.
But not during college though.
They weren't open when I was in college.
Oh.
That was the Blue Moon during college.
I was actually yes, and
We're gonna have story time with Uncle Cole later.
we will have story time.
All right, we'll see.
Yeah, Harvest Fresh is really good. It's a little grocery. It's kind of like a farmer's market store almost. So they have fresh goods. Local farmers bring their food in, and then they have like delicious sandwiches and salads. You can buy a bottle of beer or something.
Really
if
good
you
meat
want.
selection, too.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say the
You
meat
want a
case is
steak?
like,
And produce. Like,
Yeah.
it's all local stuff.
yeah.
The rooftop bar, Mcminnville's, it's always a cool spot. I have to be honest, I'm not a huge fan of Mcminnville's in general.
No,
I
the
hate their
food kinda
food and their
sucks.
service is horrible.
Yeah.
But
Tots, Cajun tots.
let's be real, Mcminnville's is the
best thing to
worst.
The
order.
beer in the top.
But Mcminnville's has the worst
Any
service.
McMinimans, just order the Cajun tots
Yeah.
with ranch. It's
And-
everything else will be disappointing.
And train your servers. But anyways, I go there and I'm willing to wait 45 minutes to get a beer because the rooftop bar is actually really cool. The building, it's a restored building. I don't know what it
You can leave with a haunted spirit too if you want.
Yeah, it's probably haunted. It's a
Oh, it is.
it's an
I
awesome
have
spot.
stories. I have stories.
Custom paintings like all the McMinnville's. There's this really enormous staircase you can walk all the way up, and I think it's a really neat place. Crescent Cafe, one of my favorite breakfast places in the valley. To this day, it was like the previous owner was the host as well, and when I was in college, he came out and he brought me my table. I'm all hungover after like a night of partying or whatever, and he gave me the most amazing presentation of what they had on the menu, where it came from. I'm like, this guy is the most amazing host ever.
Clearly loves what he does.
Michael, yes,
Yes.
Anyways,
They've
Crescent
moved
Cafe,
on. They have their own bakery, I think, on the other side of Mac.
they do.
But it's still good. Crescent's still good.
Yes, it's amazing. And 1882. So 1882 is another rooftop bar. They have I'm blanking on the place below, but
Barberry?
It's above the Barberry. And they have a pretty good menu. It's pretty standard bar food. It's not like anything gonna blow you away. But
Chili's or
yeah,
whatever.
It's a place I would go to watch like a football game if I was visiting.
Well, it's cool indoor-outdoor space too, because in the winter it can be self-contained.
Yeah,
and in
true.
the summer the windows are like garage doors.
Yeah.
Opens all up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had a really
Cool
awkward
spot.
fight there with my ex-girlfriend one time.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, for sure.
You can share
Good memories. Good memories of that one.
which girlfriend it was off camera.
Yeah, I will.
Okay. Is that all yours? Yeah, that was all yours.
Thistle. I love Thistle. Tiny little restaurant. I think it fits as a hole in the wall.
Good. Yeah.
You walk in,
Yes,
it
I would
maybe
agree.
seats like 35 or 40 people per turn, and they have a little tiny back bar. And I'm a huge fan. I think the best bartender south of Portland runs their little bar scene. Host Emily, fantastic. It's the first place I ever had rabbit. So
How many times have you eaten at Thistle?
4 now.
Damn.
Yeah, I
I-
enjoyed it because you look right into a little open kitchen.
I know. Well, it's a place I still have never eaten at in the valley, and I know people really like it, really like the food. I went in there one time, and we didn't end up staying. I don't remember why. I think it was going to
I
be too
remember why.
long,
But yeah.
or they didn't.
It is
have-
really good.
They didn't have a big enough. It was the bar.
Yeah.
What were we there for? We were there together.
No, I went there on my own.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. I went anyway. But it's a place I also haven't tried to get to
Yeah, you should.
because I know people have said it can be a little snooty.
That's a
They
big
just
bite
don't.
instead.
They don't put
Yeah,
up with,
well-
with shit though. Like, which I really respect. It's like here's the menu. Here's what's on it.
On
It's
a
a
chalkboard.
rotational menu, right? So
On a
you don't know what
chalkboard.
you're getting until you get there. It's all local, fresh produce. I'll fight you on this.
Yeah. No, I
From
need
what
to
I
go.
remember, this is a long time ago, but I think you felt like they didn't think their shit stank when they first opened, when you first went there.
Well, the original chef is the guy that got in the fight about the
pig.
pork.
Yes,
Yeah.
over a pig in Portland.
Right.
Yes.
I mean, he's long gone, is
that
my
was
understanding.
that was the only thing.
I know maybe that just left a bad taste. in
That
my
was
mouth.
it, because I remember telling you I went to Thistle. It was amazing.
And I probably
and you were like,
had a big speech.
Yeah, big, like cool, man. Like,
Yeah.
and then it was like all about that guy.
Now it's a whole thing. Well,
But
I
hey,
know.
now we have.
It's funny. I mean,
But now we have
how
pla-
that stuff kind of is like residual. How it just stays with you. Like, oh, I don't like that place.
But that's a good point.
I
I mean,
need to go.
that goes
Yeah, but
back
there's
to the part-
winemakers that I think the same thing about that you get mad at me for not liking.
Who I get mad at.
You want to
Oh,
do
no,
this
maybe
right
we'll-
now?
maybe we'll do this off
Okay.
camera, yeah.
God damn it!
I mean,
waiting.
I'm right,
The day is
but-
coming. We will air the
But all
dirty
this to
laundry.
say, a bad hospitality experience can fuck up anything that's going to be amazing, even if it's like Thistle
Even if
has
it's
amazing
amazing.
food. So this goes back to why we do this.
Right.
I'm trying to give you
That's
guys.
We
a-
fight on camera.
I'm curious.
Number 2, Allegory, little brewery. It's right off. It's off of the downtown strip by like a block.
See, you're cheating.
It's a block and a half away
You're a
from
cheater.
the little hotel.
Yeah. It's not
Um,
technically on 3rd Street, but okay.
Oh, actually, you know what? I said downtown Mac. I meant 3rd
Downtown
Street.
Mac. Okay.
I meant 3rd Street.
So that's your
but
fault.
okay, you're right. I think in the text message earlier.
Phenomenal beer. They always. I don't read your text messages.
Fair enough.
They always have a food truck.
I only sent like 30 in a row.
And then Nick's Italian downtown, phenomenal. And in the little back bar, I love the back bar.
I heard it might be going away.
What?
I know. Yeah. Well, I know they were selling the pool table. You could take a portion of Mac's history in that pool table.
Yeah, people want it. Yeah, it's for sale.
So I don't know. We'll dig into that.
But good Italian food.
Local Flow. It's a little place downtown. They make smoothies. They make acai bowls.
I've seen pictures of Local Flow. I've never eaten there.
I have no idea what you're talking
delicious.
about.
There's nothing like it south of Portland. In fact, Jordan's tried to convince me to convince them that we should open one in Newburgh. But like smoothie bowl is really healthy.
You do need another project.
Superfood
Smoothie
options. Yeah. I drive from Newburgh to pick
Like
them up for
acai
Jordan
bowls, kinda?
to take them back. Yeah.
Like an acai bowl. Yeah.
Yeah.
What?
So acai bowls, acai's like a...
Heard of this. But
Yeah.
I
They
don't
sell
know
them
what it
at
is.
fairs and at Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu tournaments because it's a
wow.
Brazilian
It's
thing.
super high antioxidant.
Yeah.
Beautiful
shit.
food.
It's delicious.
Well, it tastes good. Should we meet
Community
in it?
Plate.
Okay.
Like kind of like Crescent. Community Plate is that place for me where I've had
Yeah.
phenomenal experience. The owners are there working behind the bar.
Yeah.
You walk in, Wes, how's it going? You want a muffin again today?
Right.
Of course, I want a muffin today.
Needs a muffin today.
Yeah, I need two.
Get him over
This is
145.
good. This is good. We're you're.
I'm
your
trying to fatten up.
Your preferences are, coming into shape and everything. Where my preferences are always very clear. So this is good.
We're dialing in.
Yeah.
And I'm a local boy too, so like I grew up in Mac.
That's
so watching
true.
downtown Mac kind of evolve in these special little places that are not traditionally Mcminnville. Like growing up, Mcminnville was very much like a subpar high school and a Walmart.
Yeah.
It's a fast
And
food
then
stop
downtown
with
Mac has really developed into a hospitality
It is.
space. So it's fun to watch these things like a Local Flow.
Yeah.
Never would have thought.
All right.
Also,
Well, I
really
got-
good farmers market. That's a sixth, but
Oh, yeah.
McMinnville's
So I'm gonna
farmers
have like
market.
lunch at Local Flow and then have dinner over at Thistle now.
Yeah, do it.
Yeah. And I still need to eat at the Creole
Gem.
Gem. Yeah. I still
Good.
haven't eaten there. It's not anyway.
Good gumbo.
All right, my list. Pura Vida, just dynamite. Now, is it? It's not Peruvian. Is it South American, Central American?
South American fusion.
Fusion.
Yeah. That's, I think.
Pork belly.
See, I would disagree. I think it's Costa Rican.
Costa Rican. It's delicious Rican.
Well,
it's
Do we
fusion
have
of some-
a?
it's fusion of some
Fact
kind,
checker?
and we think
We have a
they-
fact
I don't
checker.
know.
We'll find out.
It's delicious. Pork belly tacos.
We think
and
Spanish might be
avocado
spoken in
and
the
this
country
and that.
where
and
it's from.
Well,
I
no.
don't know,
We're not sure.
And pre-COVID, it was the best because you could do family style and just order like 15
Yeah.
or 20 small plates between the whole table, and everyone just kind of.
couple outside tables.
Oh.
It's a great place to meet up with my wife for lunch. That we're like, Pura Vida, perfect. Like we always agree on that. Let's see, Crescent. I got to take Coles because great memories
So
there.
good.
Yeah, and I think part of Crescent is like your parents loving it so much.
Yes.
they love the Crescent.
Well, they love
just-
Michael. Like they love.
They-
They love.
Yeah.
It's so cozy
and
so
romantic. Like
cute
it's kind of has
and-
this like small business romance about it that is like
Yeah.
it's
And they have a pig with a chicken standing on top of them with an egg. That's 90% of
Your
why my mom
mom
loves it.
is
like
just-
anything. If you anthropomorphize anything for my mom and it's little and cozy,
done.
hence why
By the
I
way,
drew
she's
a,
like trying to sell those little squirrel cups.
This is
so
why I'm-
quickly.
this is-
Local
exactly-
artist Cole Rogers. You can see his art at Chapters. So
yeah.
we'll
We'll put a link to my website in the description.
Yeah, they make great gifts. They're adorable.
Yeah.
Your little
Yeah.
mama squirrel, the baby.
But yes, just animals, cute stuff. Sell my mom down the river.
All right. Third Street Pizza.
Oh, I
Now,
love Third Street Pizza.
Pizza is fine or whatever. I'm not really a pizza connoisseur.
It's New York style
Yeah,
pizza.
whatever.
Yeah.
The pizza's fine. I like the wings, but they at the movie theater. You
Yeah.
can go and watch a movie and eat some pizza and wings.
And like one day a week, they have dollar slices. Still,
Really? Oh,
they
wow.
had them when I was a kid.
Wow.
Still, I think it's like
Oh,
Wednesday
that's
or
amazing.
something.
Okay.
Yeah.
But
Great.
yeah, you can see a movie and get pizza and drink a beer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We used to have
Awesome.
underground
Great date.
rap concerts at Third Street Pizza.
Wow. Did you rap?
I did not, but
Okay.
I showed up in my baggy pants.
I was going to ask you to
and,
maybe repeat your verse.
my Puma
for us.
sweatsuit as a sophomore in high school.
We need some pictures of that to
Oh,
go. That's going to
God,
get cut
no.
in. Yeah, I'm going to talk to your sister or something. The Sage, it's kind of like the downtown 3rd Street secret spot. Like
It
if you
is.
know about
Kinda
the Sage,
upstairs,
you're cool.
around
Like,
the
You like
corner.
fancy food?
Yeah, it's like in that store, 1880, not 1882.
No.
It's something like that.
No. There's
What's the
isn't
store
the boutique is down below.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
then
that's
there's
why.
like the tea place, and
Well,
then
the
you
tea
go up
place
the
is down
stairs, right?
below.
The tea
It
place is
opens.
down below, and then there's the clothing place. That's
Right.
why I never knew.
Yeah,
they
the
had
clothes.
food.
Well,
My
but they
sister
have a
worked
bunch of-
there, and I don't
they have a bunch
remember
of
the
home
name.
goods.
Okay.
They've got like stuff that I buy for Megan for Christmas. Like
Yeah.
It's the
spoons
place
and
you
shit.
go if you're
Stuff you
2
don't
days
need.
away from your significant other's birthday and you haven't
But
shopped.
you go to the back and you go upstairs, and it's like delicious sandwiches
Yeah,
and
soups and
and
salads.
It's just fresh. Like
Oh,
your
yeah.
mom just made you an incredibly delicious
Yeah.
sandwich, and so the Sage is great. And then Giraldi's. Now, some people might look at Giraldi's and go, "What's so special about Giraldi's? It's got spaghetti. It's got pizza. It's just kind of." And whatever. So fuck you. I love Giraldi's.
I do too.
I do too.
I mean, I've had a number of things in the menu, and some stuff is better than other stuff. But the chicken parmesan sandwich is so fucking good, covered in like mozzarella and parmesan, and the bread. I have a problem with sandwiches where the bread is so crusty that it injures the roof of your mouth while you're eating it, and you're like, it hurts so good. No, this is like Italian. It's like Italian loaf.
Yeah.
And it's so good. It's just like this big gut bomb after like truffle hunting. And their pizza is really good.
It is.
Their pizza's
Well,
the
it-
best pizza
really like
in
it.
McMinnville.
It feels like one of those places in a big city, LA, Portland, New
Yeah.
York, where you just come around the corner and there's a whole bunch of locals that are going into this little storefront.
And they all know, like you can
this
tell
is-
they all
this is the
have,
spot.
like, they're
Yeah.
buying
This
for
is where the
their family
meatball
that night.
sandwiches that
See,
you
I
gotta
know it's
pick up.
not like Rosmarino. Like
It's not sexy by any means.
It's not like
No.
authentic Italian food. Whatever. Get out of here. I mean, Rosmarino's amazing, but it fits a whole different.
Well, and it's
need.
not Nick's either. But you're right. It's like,
I just want a big cheesy like gut bomb.
I want to
Yeah,
be
it's so
satisfied.
good. Yes.
Satisfied.
Filling.
And actually, the new owner is a hell of a nice guy. I'm really enjoying him. He's doing a great job and
Awesome.
good customer service. It's fast.
Giraldi's was a go-to spot for us. Like, Saturday, get a sandwich. I'm in college. You want something that's
Yep.
super filling. I would go get like a chicken parm or a meatball sub or something like that. Like,
Yep, the meatball's good too.
unbelievable. I really love those sandwiches. I love sandwiches, so I'm
Giraldi's.
partial to it. Yeah.
Okay.
I wanted to mention La Rambla because
Why?
Bridgie. Well, I do like La Rambla. First of all. I've had.
I mean, it's really good. Yeah.
I've had a great experience. I've had one experience there, and it was
It's like
great.
the Jekyll and Hyde of.
It was
Third
amazing
Street.
when I went there.
Oh my god.
But the reason I want to bring it up
That's
is
what's
because
so
your
frustrating.
daughter. I offered to take Bridgie out for her birthday to dinner, and I said you can pick somewhere. What kind of food do you want? She said she wants Spanish food. I'm like, how do you even know what Spanish food is? I think she was 11 maybe, and so I'm like, okay, she's just gonna want like some. She's a kid, right? She's gonna want like a little plate, and then I'll be good. I'll get out of this with like $40. Bridgie orders
my
like
girl.
5. She just acts like money is not an issue, right? And just goes to the menu.
She's just going out to eat with me.
And when I tell her like it's your birthday, you can have whatever you want, right? And so she says, okay. I want this, and this. And she's asking the waiter, like, questions he doesn't even know how to answer, Like, do you know how you cook these green beans?
I don't think
He's
I've
like,
actually heard this
I think it's
story.
edamame, like, or whatever. Like, I don't know. But, so, long story short, I end up with without wine, $125 tab on this meal. And I had, like, the cheapest, I don't remember what I got, but I remember being like, well, shit, I guess I'm just going to get
Can I
something
get the
cheap.
hummus plate?
Yeah, like, give a hamburger or something. Like, it was so cute, but it was hard on my pocket.
You learned your lesson.
I would do it
She's a
10,000
Zarnicki.
times if I had to. Bridgie, yeah. But,
She cares about food. She's
yeah,
Zarnicki.
Stefan's kids were not raised like me. I didn't know how to, like, read a menu, I just would be like, just give me the burger. But Bridgie is very particular about her food.
That's my girl.
Yeah.
All right. We are going to be right back for the next segment. Welcome back to Hospitality. Now is the time where we discuss what's been beautiful and what's been brutal. So I will start.
Do it.
Beautiful. We had a group for Black Tie Tours out of the Allison yesterday. They had a less than stellar experience with their morning shower. The shower was busted, and it was unpleasant. They called the front desk or whatever, and the Allison got them into the spa or something to get them showered up and everything. But then they called me up, the Allison. They knew they were going out with us, and the Allison said, "We're gonna cover their wine tour. We want to cover their wine tour
That's
for
cool.
the day. We feel really bad.
Awesome.
So when you come back, just let us know, and we're going to take care of it." I don't know if they said anything to those folks at that time about it, but Ian was out with them during the day, and they were just so grateful that the Allison kind of went above and beyond. Because finding you a place to shower and everything, or getting into a room with a non-broken faucet is bare minimum, right? I mean, you think, okay, that's good, but they took that extra step, which I think is old school. I think is the right way to do it,
right.
As far as customer service, not just to make it right, but really pat it on. And my dad always thought at the Palmer House that when we make a mistake, that's the opportunity to really give them a memorable experience to show
Right.
what we're made of,
Right.
Not just apologize, or not just covered up. Sometimes places in hospitality, they
make excuses.
They just make excuses.
Yeah.
No, it's not my fault.
Right.
Blah 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 blah. No, they just took care of it,
Right.
and went above and beyond. So I was impressed by that. I like to see everybody here doing a good job. Like I take a lot of pride in living in Oregon and working in Oregon. Even though I'm not from here originally, I love this place, and so seeing stuff like that just gives me a lot of pride. Like, I can recommend
Right.
the Allison. I could recommend my friends from back east to come and visit, and we're going to take great care of
I'm
you.
proud of them as a partner.
Yeah.
In a lot of respects.
Yeah, this should be a world-class
Right.
place to visit.
Yeah.
And when you go to a nice hotel and pay good money,
Right.
You want to be taken.
Well,
care
and
of.
we
So-
all know too, like going above and beyond within hospitality, like should be the minimum. It's sad that it's not for a lot of places, but if someone has a good experience, they tell a handful of people. If they have a poor experience, they tell everyone they know.
Yes. Oh, it's so true.
And if they have a poor experience that's been handled correctly and then's been fixed, they tell a whole lot more people.
Right.
That was actually, shout out to Steve Hurst, not Will Smith or Daniel Elder, but Steve, my real manager, not my peers
The
that wore
main-
suits and stood behind a desk, but
Daniel, I would have beat you in fantasy this week if it
I would
hadn't
beat
been for
you
injuries, but
pretty much anything.
it's whatever.
Excuses.
But Steve has a lot of experience in hospitality, and one of his big points was when you mess up, it is a great opportunity, like your father was saying, and it's way more memorable. I don't know how they poll this, but there is data that suggests people who have bad experiences that have been handled correctly in hospitality versus those that have a great experience are sure to come back to the place that was honest, stood up to their mistakes.
Right.
That's rare in general nowadays.
Right.
Let alone for a business to come to you and be like, "Hey, we messed up."
Well, we live in a world too that's so automated. We're so used to everything just being like something gets screwed up with your Amazon thing. You send something,
True.
maybe you get a response.
Yeah.
So the human touch of being like, "Hey, actually, we fucked up. This is our bad. Let us take care of you."
Yeah.
Read
It
the situation.
really goes a long way.
It's being big.
So good on you to the Allison.
Yeah.
good job, guys.
Thank you for representing.
All right. Before we go to the other beautiful, you're doing beautiful.
You got a beautiful.
Beautiful.
Before we go to the other beautiful, shout out to Lauren. Hi, Lauren. Thank you so
Lauren's
much.
been
Lauren,
fantastic to
two
us.
things. First off, Lauren poured us a delicious 2015 Elton. This is a spectacular wine.
It's
Yeah.
funky
I mean, this is
as hell.
lovely.
And I
If you
love
like
it.
a little funk, a little
Little
earthiness,
farmyard.
this is I highly recommend this. So come down to the tasting room down here or down south and check that one out. This is delicious. I really like this. And then two, her little chime in for as somebody who works and lives or just works? Works and lives downtown Mcminnville. Pizza Capo. Delicious.
Oh.
Really good.
I feel
like,
terrible for missing that.
craft.
I'm a
I
big
mean,
fan.
Like the pizza's legit.
Wood fire oven
It's-
pizzas.
Yeah.
And earlier I said that Giraldi's are the best pizza in Mac, and that's probably not true.
Well, that's totally different. Those are different styles of pizza.
Well, I like
Anyway,
that
we
style of
fucked up
pizza
because we
better.
missed
But-
Pizza
Yeah.
Capo. So we're
I like artisanal
owning
pizza
that.
myself, so Pizza Capo is definitely my style. But
Yeah, no. If I'm going to take my family out to eat, I'm not going to take them to Red Hills Market for that pizza or Pizza Capo. I'm going to take them to Giraldi's.
Sure.
Get a giant
Sure.
like grease bomb, and
Yeah.
they're going to love it. Anyway,
second beautiful. We for the first time. So I work at a hospital, and we have been doing the majority of COVID testing in the state of Oregon, at least in this region. And for the first time yesterday, I believe for the first time in 30-something weeks, we had 0 positive COVID tests. So
hell yeah.
Oregon's at least doing their part, staying home, wearing
it up,
masks,
people.
Yep.
distancing.
Well, that segues into brutal.
Yes, it does.
Daddy lost a lot of money last weekend. I had a group coming in. It was a multi-day tour, 15-passenger van. And after a long, hard summer, I was really looking forward to it. But I send out pre-screening questions for COVID, sort of the protocols for what's happening when you get to Oregon, when you're in our care, what our drivers are going to be doing. And based on that information, they decided, well, maybe all 10 of us should get tested. 3 out of 10. And they're coming from the East Coast and the South. It's 5 different couples spread out. 3 out of the 10 folks tested positive for COVID. They got their positive tests like 8 hours before they were supposed to board the plane.
God.
So, apologize to all of the winemakers that I had scheduled one-on-one tastings with. I had to cancel. But,
But good on you, man.
I mean,
for
it
making that.
sucks.
No,
but at the
that's-
same time, like, it's nice that people are paying attention to the fact that we're kind of putting it out there. Like, hey, we're taking this seriously. We'd
Yeah.
appreciate it if you did too.
no.
And we did our part to not have any more positive tests in
Yeah.
Oregon this week.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, man. That contributes to everything I just said. Like literally everybody has to do everything if they want to get rid of this thing. So
It is what it is. Got to play by the rules.
yeah.
Yeah. So thank you, Ian. And brutal distance learning.
Oh,
Now, so Aiden goes to alternative school, and it's just a wonderful school. They have it dialed in, small, but they're already small classes.
yeah.
he didn't get like kicked out of high school.
It's fine.
He chose
No.
an
Oh,
alternative
it was-
route. He didn't.
I figure we should make that
demoted.
clear.
We were like
just for Aiden's
Actually,
sake.
No.
it's called Catalyst, which is it's a secondary choice of education where you can basically make a different schedule.
if you don't fit in the typical.
yeah, it's alternative learning.
And honestly, like, he would have probably been just fine at the regular high school, but Catalyst is such an awesome school. Like, they're so flexible. That's why we did it. And anyway.
He was thriving in it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, it's
Yeah,
an
yeah.
amazing school. Anyway, they've got it dialed.
I mean, Bill
He's
Rogers.
great. Bill Rogers.
Bill Rogers
Bill
built
the
that
Law
school.
Rogers
So
started it. So
It's going to be a good education.
yeah, you're gonna get you whipped into shape.
Let's just put it that way.
Yeah, we need to get your dad on.
Whoever the
That'll
hell
be
at
fun.
Newburgh High School is doesn't matter.
No.
Bill Rogers School.
And now we got Tim Graham.
I'm surprised people don't change switch over more often.
Shout out to you, Tim. And anyway, and Bridget is like, what homework do I have today? Okay, I'll get that done. Oh my god, like she's
Yeah.
studious, whatever. But for those kids, I got Zanabu.
Zanabu.
Zanabu was
Little
like
bit of
pew
energy.
pew squirrel, like
Oh,
already struggled in terms of focus.
yeah.
The kid's incredibly smart, but like focus wise, even in a regular classroom with a teacher who's like engaged with you all the time, he struggled. So,
And he challenges authority.
oh my god,
A little bit.
Yeah.
That's going to be the
already
kid,
does
though,
like-
that, like,
oh,
He
he
already
also-
does in person, and then I can't imagine with distance learning how he's challenging authority.
Please draw a line. I'll cross it. Okay, so two things about that. One, he managed to. So he was going in the morning to the church, to where they have some like staff that's basically hired to supervise kids, which is like great for some families and everything. And it's an amazing program. Good job, Wayside. But he was there and he was remotely accessing his computer at home to play his games and actually.
Ian, is that your fault? Did you teach him how to do that?
No, he had probably looked it up.
Dude, this kid learns
Just looked it up.
everything
And
himself.
He teaches everything himself.
He'll
Yep.
be like, yeah, I'm building this website. I'm like, what?
We're drinking on your porch last week, and you come out and ask him if he's done his math homework. And he's like, no, but I built a new portion of my app.
He's making a show. He's making
Exactly.
an animated show.
Yeah, so
Right.
he figured out how to control his computer, his main computer at home, and work on like his coding or animation or something from his Chromebook. So that's the one thing. And then the other thing, apparently,
Such
in
a
the
sweet
one
move,
Google,
though.
In the one Google,
I'm so proud of him.
I know. In the one Google Classroom, the teacher was lost and she was struggling with technology, as probably a lot of teachers are doing right now. He shared his screen and started like live editing like pictures of himself from like when he was a baby and a kid and stuff, and like entertaining the whole class while the teacher's like scrambling to figure things out.
Oh my God.
So, I mean,
He's such a class clown, dude.
he is. He's my son.
It's
Like,
wicked smart.
But he's
wicked
super smart.
And,
Way smarter than Stefan.
And
Which is going to be a problem.
No, that is so.
At 16, Stefan's just going to be like,
It's already a problem.
Just
And at 16, he's
talked me
probably
out
going to
of
be
his own
like
punishment.
6'2" and like 220. Like, you know,
3% body fat.
Go to your room.
good luck.
He'll just pick you up, carry you inside, set you down.
I know.
Yeah, and then just tell you why you were just wrong about the
But
punishment
like,
you gave.
oh, it is throwing us for a loop. I mean, the distance learning is hard. And here's the thing, he has 2 dedicated parents. Like, we are both very invested.
Right.
And God, I mean, the kids that are being left behind by this in homes that
Right.
mom and dad or whatever are not around or don't have the energy or a language
Or have to
barrier.
work, or
or have a
know.
language barrier,
Normal families?
or I mean, they don't have internet or like all this stuff that they now
Right.
have to navigate in addition to
Right.
normal school stuff. that
My sister
they're not
works with the
comfortable
Maurice Lucas Foundation in Portland, and they're dealing with the same kind of thing. It was traditionally an after-school program that helped with tutoring, and the majority of their kids are single-parent households, or a portion of them, maybe not a majority.
Yeah.
And they're dealing with how do we like
Well, the
how do we
internet's-
still, like,
the internet's
tutor
like
these kids?
$79 a month. So the distance learning assumption that all kids can
Right,
just
just have
distance learn,
access to it.
That's like 50% of our country. Like,
Yeah,
it's-
well, I mean, now a lot of the school districts, they're saying, oh, we can give you a hotspot to get you.
Sure.
But, like, then you have to navigate how to set up a hot, like, it's
Right.
so hard. It's,
And imagine the
so much work
toll
for
and
parents.
tax as being a parent, and I'm new to the parent game, but like if I knew my kids traditionally have gone to school while I went to work, and now my kids have to stay home and be self-taught essentially online while I'm at work, just the anxiety and burden that would give to parents.
That's one,
Who,
one
you
of
know,
my
like-
one of my close coworkers is she has a 11-year-old boy and she has a 4-year-old boy, and she right now is basically having to have her 11-year-old make sure his 4-year-old brother gets his work done when her 11-year-old is like, fuck this, I'm gonna go play video games. So
Yeah.
and I mean he's a good kid, like he's
Right.
he's not I would do the same thing at 11, like
Right.
right.
if they were like, watch Connor, make him do his school, I'd be like, okay. And then I'd
Right.
be out in
I'm gonna be
the, I'd be out in the
playing-
creek,
Yeah, exactly.
like killing a killing a
Nutria.
gopher, a nutria. But yeah, like I can't imagine with what she's going through, or her and her boyfriend are going through. But that's
Anyway, we feel
that's
for
the
all these
standard.
parents.
That's the normal.
And
Like,
the teachers, of
you
course.
know,
And
like-
the teachers
Yeah.
are doing. I mean, they're working hard. Like they're doing the best they
Yeah.
can. And I definitely feel for them. Or teachers who are 5-10 years away from retirement, and they were already struggling to keep up with technology.
Right.
I mean, I taught for 10 years, and towards the end there, I was already like, oh man, do I really want to learn this new thing? Like,
I did a Zoom tasting
Like-
the other day and couldn't figure out how to get all the fucking little screens. Whoever was talking was on. And I'm sitting there like, I'm 29. I should be able to figure this
Yeah.
out. I can't find the button.
Yeah.
I know. It's
quick,
it's
actually,
a shit show.
beautiful story. So, obviously, I work in healthcare. I was doing a blood draw the other day on a woman who is a full-time teacher and is currently fighting cancer, and she had this blouse on, and I said, "That's a pretty blouse." She goes, "Oh yeah, I wear it to hide the PICC line, you know, because I don't want the kids to know I have cancer." But this lady's, and so I started asking her about distance learning. She said she's putting in legitimately 14-hour days right now because the amount of time after class is over that it takes now, there's so many more parents are. There's so much more parent activity,
Right.
Because parents are basically teaching their own kids. So she's like, it's been so hard. But man, can you imagine like
Yeah.
how much strength that takes?
These teachers are
tough.
heroes.
Yeah.
All right.
Absolutely.
Good job, teachers. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
All right.
Story time.
Story time.
Speaking of learning, this is a story about school.
Oh, all right.
Sorry to Mr. Scott Klug for
Mr.
the next
Klug.
3 minutes or whatever it takes.
He was a teacher.
And shout out to John Stiles and Greg Salmon, who were my partners in this scheme.
Also, Greg's been pimping your cups.
Yeah, dude, thank you, Greg.
Yeah. Shout
Again,
out to Greg.
in case we didn't mention
Greg's
earlier,
wonderful.
I made mugs, and they're for sale on the website.
And Greg makes jewelry, and it's for sale.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Greg makes amazing jewelry. So, Greg, John, and I had a project due in marine biology. I think we were like sophomores in high school.
This would be an easy class.
And the project was as follows. You have to go to a marine, like you have to go out onto the ocean, fish, take pictures, catch a fish, document the whole thing, talk about your trip. But it was going out on basically a boat and fishing, or you could go to the beach and fish. But the idea was you're going to go interact with the ocean, right? You're going to try and catch a fish. So we, of course, wait till Sunday night before this project is due on Monday morning. And we're like, fuck, that thing's due tomorrow, guys. We probably can't book like a charter out to the ocean and fish
At like 8 o'clock
by
on a
tomorrow
Sunday
morning.
night.
Yeah. So we're like, well, how are we going to solve this? So we go to Fred Meyer. We buy a fish from a salmon from the deli or whatever, or the fresh fish market. Then we go to the local marina, where not marina. Excuse me. We go to the local. We go to the local
marina.
dealership, the boat dealership, and we ask the guy who owns the dealer or who's working at the dealership if we can take some pictures in one of his boats. And he's like, okay. So we're like, thanks so much. So we go, and we have like Greg's mom's camera, and John and Greg, they're like leaning down, because behind us is just a bunch of boats. There's no ocean. And so they're like leaning down and like looking up at the camera like we just caught this fish. And I'm taking pictures of them just so you can't see behind them, but you can just see the bottom of the boat. And we take like 7 or 8 pictures of us like having a good time on the ocean and like catching this awesome fish. And the fish is cut down the belly, right? Because it's been degutted. So we have to like hold the bottom of it to like cover up the cut. So we end up getting an A on the project. This is the best part. So years later, my little sister is in Mr. Klug's class. And I don't remember how it went exactly, but she says something like, hey,
She just outed
you were probably really pissed when my brother got an A on that project that he totally cheated on. And Mr. Klug was like, you fucking cheated? And never knew and was so pissed. So, or maybe he didn't, maybe at the moment he didn't learn that we had cheated, but he said something like, yeah, and he fucking cheated. You know, he was so pissed.
I
But
didn't say fucking cheated.
I was only 17, 18, and you have to forgive me, Mr. Klug. I was just a boy.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. But yeah, that was my best work.
Well done.
It's
The only time you got an A in that class.
It probably was. Thanks, Greg. That was
All right. Well, that's going to do it for today's episode. Thank you again, Jim Bernau, for coming on. Very informative. And thank you to our followers, our listeners. If you enjoy this, whatever you want to call it, podcast, shenanigans, bullshit, whatever we do, please share.
Stay
And,
tuned. We're making the selection for the drawing this week.
Oh,
we are.
yes.
Yep. So we'll announce that side segment.
Side segment, drawing, if you liked, shared, that's the one thing
And
that a lot of
commented.
people didn't share. People liked and commented and what stuff. But yes, we'll be announcing that this week.
Yeah.
All right. We will see you next time.
Cheers.